Burn is back on the menu, baby! Wilds of Eldraine is giving us the best burn commander in Imodane the Pyrohammer. Notoriously, burn has been a challenge to pull off in a format where you have 3 opponents and higher life totals, but Imodane is a game changer. This 4-mana mono-red human knight is a 4/4 with 1 line of text. She reads, whenever an instant or sorcery spell you control that targets only a single creature deals damage to that creature, Imodane deals that much damage to each opponent. That is a glorious line of text for a few reasons, and makes burn really viable in this format. Let's break it down. First, it doesn't say you have to cast the instant or sorcery. Copies work here too. Reiterate or dual strike all double up effectiveness. Second, it doesn't state that the creature has to be an opponent's creature. You could, in a state of necessity, target your own creature with a spell to get that benefit. This is important in the case of something like Chain Lightning, where you can target your own stuff and pay to copy the spell again and again. Third, it says each opponent. This means not having to worry about splitting damage across opponents or running out of damage-dealing spells. This means efficiency in spellcasting, something that's been a difficulty for burn in the past. Lastly, Imodane deals the excess damage. This means we can give her lifelink with a Basilisk Collar or Shadow Spear, and really start putting distance between ourselves and opponents' life totals. Bet you didn't think mono-red life gain would be a thing. But since she deals the damage, it means giving her Infect with a grafted exoskeleton takes the amount of damage we need to deal from 40 to just 10. Much easier. Before we take a look at what's in the 99, be sure to get your Wilds of Eldraine pre-orders in with my sponsor Face to Face Games. With singles available now, you can use my promo code MECHANIC for 5% off of every order. Keep an eye on my socials because we're running big giveaways right now too, with more to come soon. Now, let's take another look at why Imodane is so good and makes burn viable, and that is damage doubling. You see, there are a few sources of damage here that are tossing numbers around. Your spell deals damage to a creature, which can be affected by damage doubling, then Imodane deals damage, which is also affected by damage doubling. Meaning, with 1 damage doubling effect out, like a Furnace of Wrath, your Lightning Bolt deals 6 damage to a creature, causing Imodane to deal 12 damage to each opponent. Nutty! Especially considering there are a lot of damage doubling effects we can include. Furnace of Wrath and Dictate of the Twin Gods and Gratuitous Violence, though the latter only doubles Imodane's damage. These are just a few. But we also have damage triplers like Fiery Emancipation and the new City on Fire that can play a role here. Either one of these turns our Lightning Bolt into 9 damage to a creature and 27 damage to each opponent. Woo! That's ideally how I want this deck to win. Let's cast a 1-mana spell and deal lethal damage to everyone. Sure, we can go bigger with X mana cost spells like Fireball, Shatterskull Smashing, and Crackle with Power, but that's only if we have some big numbers. If we get multiplicative, well, only 1 damage can be enough to chunk opponents' life totals. But Chris, I hear you say, what if Imodane is killed on sight? What do we do then? Well, you have a backup plan of pivoting to spell slinging. You're a burn deck, so you're going to be casting spells. My brew is 30% instants and sorceries, so let's play into that. Dealing damage on spellcast, like with a Gutter Snipe, Erebor Flamesmith, or Fiery Inscription, all ensures that casting just 1 to 2 spells can take opponents down by 10 life or more, and that's before damage doubling effects. The ideal game plan is to build up to a turn where we drop Imodane and cast our 1-mana end the game spell in the same turn. All that takes is having a damage multiplier in play already. And what if we lose those game-ending spells? Well, let's cast them out of our yard. We have access to Mizzix's Mastery, Underworld Breach, and Past in Flames, so let's use them to make sure that a spell we cast earlier in the game isn't gone forever. Being able to turn a Skewer the Critics or Abrade into game over for your opponents is the really big appeal here. If you've ever played Burn in Modern or Legacy and wanted to bring that same concept to Commander, this is the deck for you. The nuts and bolts of the deck are great universal staples as well, so anyone with a red deck should already have these pieces. I'm talking Ruby Medallion, Stormkiln Artist, and Cursed Mirror. all must-haves for any collection and any self-respecting red player. The real expensive pieces, in my build at least, aren't necessary to make the deck work. These are upgrades like Ancient Tomb and Nykthos Shrine to Nyx. These are great, for sure, but not needed to make the deck really work. Creatures like Dockside Extortionist and Ragavan are good cards, but does the deck need them? Not at all. There's definitely a more budget-friendly version of this list that just runs a few more targeted burn spells and functions just as well. Now, lastly, I have included Repercussions in this list. This enchantment is a big deal in the deck, dealing damage to the controller of any creature that's dealt any kind of damage. It's like another Imodane, but not for every opponent. Still, it can turn a blasphemous act into a game ender for everyone, yourself included. Right now the card is about $20, so a little bit more on the expensive side, but it's about to be reprinted with Wilds of Eldraine. So be sure to add it to your wish list if you're going to build Imodane in the future. Be sure to let me know what you think of this brew, and if you think Imodane is going to be the burn queen in Commander. If there's a card you feel needs to be in this deck, let me know in the comments below. And be sure to check out the full list linked at my sponsor, Moxfield. Moxfield is the best deck building platform in the world, and I cannot stress that enough. It has inbuilt search and deck testing tools to make sure your brew works before building. Be sure to visit my profile and give me a follow while you're there. And while you're here, be sure to check out these other brews. And if you've been inspired to build a deck today, you have to hit that subscribe button. And remember folks, as always, good luck and have fun.